Hello, families. Thank you for coming back for our reading of the Jessie Tree. We are on day number 4 of reading in this book. So we have seen there's a grumpy old man making a wood carving in a church of a Jessie tree. And there's a curious little boy that keeps coming every day and bothering him. Let's see what happens today. This chapter is called Strange Visitors. Uh-oh. It looks like the little boy is bringing someone else with him today. Do you think the old man is going to be happy about that? Probably not. There was no dog with the boy when he came the next day. There was a little boy instead. "You mean there are more of you?" said the old man with a despairing sigh. "He was lost. I said I'd show him the way back to the campground." He turned to the smaller boy. "There's the Jessie tree I told you about. There's the sun and the moon. There's the boat. And now he's doing a horse." "It's not a horse, it's a camel," snapped the carpenter. "Did it get left behind by Noah? Is it waiting? It's got no legs." "It's sitting down, resting in the desert. It stands for, it's a symbol for Abraham." Was Abraham a camel then? The old man scowled such a scowl that both boys ought to have melted then and there, but they didn't. Sit down, the boy advised his friend. "He's going to tell us the story of Abraham now." Abraham was a nomad. He did not belong anywhere. His tent was like the ark floating on the flood. One day here, another day there. When the goats and sheep had eaten all the grass in one place, Abraham and his wife Sarah moved on. They did not mind. God was good to them. The only regret they had was their lack of a son. Year after year they had longed for a child. Too many years. Now Sarah was too old. It seemed that when Abraham and Sarah died, their tent and sheep and camels would pass to strangers. "Yes, go on," said the boy. "Why did you stop?" "I never meant to start," the old man said gruffly, polishing his chisel on the tail of his shirt. But he went on. "Then one day 3 figures walked out of the low light. The heat made their shapes waver. Sarah was inside the tent preparing food, but Abraham beckoned to them. 'Come, eat, drink, rest, strangers.' You're a hospitable man, Abraham. May your son bring you great joy. Children do." "We have no children," said Abraham. "My wife Sarah." "We'll have a son," one stranger interrupted, "and that son will be the father of many sons." Inside the tent, Sarah heard this and laughed to herself, a soft, bitter, inward laugh. "Why did Sarah laugh?" asked another of the strangers. "Doesn't she know that with God all things are possible?" The tent trembled, and suddenly Sarah stood in its doorway staring. They could not possibly have heard her laugh. How could they know a thing like that? How could they? A group of strangers. The visitors drank goat's milk, broke bread with Abraham, and walked on. The desert dust swallowed them up. The heat broke the setting sun into white crumbs of light. The first star of evening was rising. "Can you believe it?" gasped Sarah, half laughing, her hand resting on her stomach. "I can," said Abraham. "I do. I've told you before how God spoke to me once years ago, and he said, 'Abraham, your descendants will be as numberless as the stars in the sky.' I should not have needed 3 strangers to tell me. I should have known. God always keeps his promises." "And Abraham is one of Jesus' ancestors, right? And that's why you're carving his camel on the Christmas tree." "Correct." "So Jesus was going to be one of Abraham's many, 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 countless as the stars descendants, right?" said the boy. "Yes, yes." The old man tossed his head irritably, as if these things were too complicated for boys to understand. "The brightest one," he said, "the brightest one." The boy said, "The brightest one." And the old man said, "Yes, yes, the brightest one. Can a working man get no peace these days?" Do you think the old man is enjoying telling these stories? He still acts pretty grumpy and grouchy, doesn't he? Yeah, but he tells the stories so well. I think maybe he enjoys it. I'm enjoying hearing the stories. I hope you are. I will see you tomorrow when we read the next chapter of the Jessie Tree. Bye-bye.